SportsTownChicago.com. O'Hare, broadcasting live from Sportstown, Chicago. Broadcast home for your Windy City Bulls and Chicago Dogs. We're in a league of our own. Now, here's your SportstownChicago.com update.
At 8:06, I'm Matt DonLee with your SportstownChicago.com update, brought to you by the Illinois Media School. If interested in a career in media, go to BeOnAir.com. Back in the United Center on national TV, the Blackhawks lead the Rangers 2-0 with 2 minutes left in the second period, courtesy of goals from Louis Crevier and Connor Bedard. Spencer Knight thus far is a perfect 15 for 15 in saves. Tonight's game is currently on TNT as the Hawks look to end their 3-game skid. Earlier today, Michigan football head coach Sharon Moore was fired with cause by the university following an investigation into an inappropriate relationship he had with a staff member. Following his termination, Moore was detained by police in Salina, Michigan for an investigation into potential charges. Following the firing, the university named Biff Poggi as the interim head coach through the remainder of the season. In Major League Baseball free agency, former Mets first baseman Pete Alonso signed a 5-year, $155 million deal with the Orioles. Alonso spent 7 seasons with the Mets where he was a 5-time All-Star, as well as earned awards such as Rookie of the Year in 2019 and Silver Slugger in 2025. Earlier today, the Bears had a walkthrough at Hallis Hall ahead of their Week 15 home game against the Browns. Head coach Ben Johnson had this to say about their upcoming opponent.
It's a team that really last 3 games, with the new quarterback, you can feel their offense picking it up a little bit. He's a dangerous player. And their defense, it's top 3 defense. I mean, they're really good. Looking forward to coming back to home. Feels like we haven't played at Soldier in a while, so hopefully we get a good home crowd and get that feeling going again.
On the estimated injury report released today, cornerback Kyler Gordon was listed as a non-participant with a groin injury. Sunday's game will be at noon on Fox, with the Bears favored by 7.5. Looking to end their 7-game losing streak, the Bulls practice today ahead of their Hornets. Jalen Smith and Isaac in practice, while Ayo Dosunmu did not practice. And now, it's time for the Matt and Lee Sports Talk Show. What's going on, folks? Welcome back to another edition of the DonLee Sports Talk Show. We've got Lee back in the building with us tonight, and we're going to be talking NBA, including the Bulls' Windy City two-way players that could play an impact for the Bulls later on this season, as well as some NBA trade rumors, and then we're going to cap it off with some Philip Rivers talk. He's back with the Colts in the NFL for the first time since COVID. But first, Lee, how are we feeling tonight, my man?
Great night to talk sports. I appreciate you for making sure, as always, that we were hooked up officially last night, even though I wasn't in the building. It's good to be back. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty good. As you said, it's always a good time to talk sports, and we've got a lot of good topics here today. We've been, privileged enough to get to see some of these Bulls players that are playing two-way for both the Windy City and the big Chicago Bulls. We've seen them up close and personal, and let's start with a few of these key contributors today. But before we get into that, actually, Lee, where can the good people find you on social media if they're interested in hearing and seeing more what you have to offer?
No doubt. I'll talk sports and music and anything else at BROGEODI on all platforms. All right.
I know it's been a minute, but we are officially friends on TikTok now.
Yes,
and for me, it's Matt_D14 on both TikTok and Twitter. And let's get into it today. Lee, you had the opportunity to see up close and personal some of these young Bulls, talented, emerging players coming up. We've got a few to talk through, but 3 of them that are currently on both the Windy City roster and the Chicago Bulls roster. We've got Lachlan Ulbrich, we've got Trenton Flowers, and we have Emmanuel Miller. Of course, Mac McClung is also on the Windy City Bulls. I don't know how much NBA time he's going to get to see, even though he had a few games with the Pacers earlier this year. We'll see what he has to offer, but I know you were really excited to talk about Emmanuel Miller, the oldest of these 3. He's 25. He went to TCU. Played a few games for the Bulls last season. What are we seeing so far this year with Emmanuel Miller in the G League? And then how do you think that can translate maybe for the Bulls this year?
No, totally. So in the G League, as you say, just getting a good view up close and personal. I've honestly always seen him very interactive in every play. So you can tell that the smarts are there, just like for Obridge, right? They have a lot of basketball IQ, and that's why they got that chance to step up. Regardless of Laquan having 2 points, you know what I mean? I still think I think Miller had 6. They both definitely did what they had to for him being his first game, you know, and E-Man only being his second game there. They did what they had to for 2 rookies just trying to be of assistance to an injury Bulls team. So what I like from E-Man the most, though, is that, like I say, he's very interactive in the play. It doesn't matter. It seems what lineup he's in. He knows his role, and like it switches depending on the lineup. You know what I mean? Because if you see Woolridge in with E-Man, Woolridge is the primary handler, and usually E-Man doesn't mind playing second fiddle, but he can also dribble the ball. He can run the ball up too. In the same extent, when you see Caleb and Woolridge in, right, you see a 1 and a 2 or a Mac and a Caleb, right? Miller will play the 3, even though he can shoot, you know, threes all day, whatever the case. Like he still plays like an actual 3 or even a 4. You know what I mean? Making sure he makes his body useful, setting good screens, and crashing the boards too. So
yeah, and especially it's interesting to look at the two-way life. I wasn't really super familiar before this season working with the Windy City Bulls, seeing how this two-way works. You know, they'll have games on a Friday and a Sunday, let's say, but then they'll be up with the big Bulls on Saturday.
No doubt.
And so when we're looking at their contributions, right, with the stats that we see, what do you think is more important, considering the fact that when they are called up to the NBA Bulls, they're likely sandwiched in between 2 G League games that they're going to play real significant minutes in. Yeah. For right now, is it any concern, or is it natural and progressive for them to only get a few minutes maybe at the end of the game here for the NBA Bulls?
Well, you know, I think that progressive is the right word in the question. I don't think it's very progressive. I do understand it. I can understand why Billy Donovan may think it necessary. Well, for one, that's kind of always how he's been anyway, even with Io as well, when he just felt like, he wasn't ready due to a couple slippery turnovers. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. There'd be some questionable turnovers. I've seen some Io turnovers alone that were like,
they can be pretty bad.
How did you do this? You know what I mean? The one most questionable is obviously one of Giannis's most famous highlights. Just simply was dribbling the ball up, dribbled it off his foot, which I don't even know how it wasn't a kick, but it went towards out of bounds. He goes to it slowly, throws it behind him. It's a turnover, turns to an and-1. He doesn't even get on defense to stop the ball. I say all that to say, like, he's incredible when he is at his, not even at his best, but in a role to create. You know what I mean? He gets out there to create a basket, to open up the floor. And when he does that right, he's very good, but we still seen him like take shortened minutes and whatnot because of little things, even though he will give you 12, 14 points. So I think that Billy just plays it safe for sure. You know, I wish that they did get more time earlier in the game. I think that it does play a huge part on the motivation you have to score, the importance of the role that you feel like you're playing when you are getting into a game, 2 minutes left, you know what I'm saying, with a certain lead. You know, you don't even play with the same intensity, of course. So, no, definitely. I know that Billy's kind of just a nervous guy when it comes to that type of thing. So I kind of understand.
He wants to make sure that you're ready when he's putting you in the game. And if you show that you're not, he's going to take you out.
Yeah. I feel like he knows he can, he can more so hold his guys who are veterans, more experienced, more accountable than, you know what I mean, if it's like, Billy, why were you playing a G League 2A rookie on the first, you know what I mean, or whatever.
Right? And they're not going to get significant minutes either, like I said. And when I say progressive, I mean like hopefully progressively building up. You know, like when you look at Miller, he's got the most games and minutes so far for these 3 guys that we're going to be talking about. He hasn't seen more than 8 minutes in a game. I think he's averaging about 6.5 minutes a game. So it's very, it's doable. It's a sample size for sure to see what he's able to do. But at the same time, it'll ramp up eventually. And I think the reason he's gotten most of that playing time is simply because he's older than the other 2, right? Albridge is 21 and Flowers is 20. And so having Miller there at 25, I think that gives Billy a little bit more confidence in the fact that he'll be able to hold his own, maybe a little bit more if he gets into the game as well. And just the other night, transitioning here to our guy Flowers, he had his first bucket with the Bulls. He played in 6 games with the Clippers last year, and this year, this audio is from his first bucket with the Bulls.
Missing a 3. We see Trenton Flowers right here fighting for the loose ball, and Flowers gets his first bucket of the year.
I think I could hear him a little bit more clearly than the announcers there, asking for that and one very politely to the ref there.
Make sure it was heard. Hey, in his defense, Flowers gets touched a lot. The Windy City Bulls get touched up a lot and get a lot of calls missed, so I know that felt good.
Oh, I'm sure. And he's another very physical. He's 6'9", 185. So he's a little lanky for sure, but he's got the movement. I think he's got the ability to move, especially around the paint. Yeah. He can shoot it a little bit as well. From what you've seen so far, what do you see as the upside with Trenton Flowers, not only on the Windy City Bulls, but on the Chicago Bulls as well going forward?
With Trenton Flowers, I definitely love his speed and agility. Right, I love that. He still has that potential to being young. You don't know how much he's going to grow, how stronger he'll get. He can very much shoot. So definitely, you gotta love that. You gotta love that he's what should I say? A team player, more so to speak. I want to see him, if anything, start to get more aggressive. I know he'll probably need that green light himself. So I do love that. He seems more of a team player, willing role player. Because his role is important. He is a good bailout out of a lot of situations when he is slashing to the rim or even on a fast break. And so, it's just really on him what he does with it after that. But the presence of him is felt on a fast break, spacing the floor, especially with Gay being so big, running to the rim. Trenton will be open because they have to dive to that rim to protect it. So I do like his position more so, honestly. There are a lot of people say, it's funny you mentioned Mac McClung being how much of a firepower he is on offense. This guy's averaging nearly 30 points.
Yeah, he dropped 30 the other night, I believe.
He drops
on the road.
Yeah, he drops these 20-plus games easily, and like you say, 30 just recently. So one thing that confuses me about him is he's been moved around a little bit and stuff like that, right?
You're talking about Mac?
Yeah, Mac McClung.
Yeah, go ahead.
Not me, sorry, because just to kind of make it relate to E-Man and Obridge and Flowers, right? He's better. He's better than them, so it's kind of interesting. What do you think about that?
Well, I heard somebody give a take recently that I thought was pretty on point in the fact that Mac McClung is kind of he's too good for the G League in some ways, right? His skill set is very much tailored to be at the NBA level. However, he is too undersized, I think a lot of NBA teams view. Sitting at 6'2" there, I think a lot of people is he's kind of a spark plug, right? He's got that high energy. At the same time, when you look at a lot of his scoring, not only in the G League, but also in the NBA, he's able to create a lot of movement to get to the basket. And while that translates really well in the G League, it might not always find its way to the NBA game as well. I know he's capable of shooting, right? He's very capable, Mac McClung is, but at the same time, he's not hitting it a high enough percentage, especially from 3, I think, to really catch the eye of a lot of teams and say, hey, we need this guy on our roster here. So honestly, it's kind of tragic with Mac McClung because he does have that talent. He's got that speed. He's got the natural scoring ability. But I think his size is always going to be a handicap that, maybe a team will take a chance on him. Again, it really surprised me that the Pacers didn't, but they opted for a guy with more height than him. So we'll see. I really do hope, though, that he gets a chance to play on the Chicago Bulls at some point this year.
At least a couple times. Excuse me, at least a couple times, right? Because it's too much firepower, and I like the word that you used, being a spark plug. Definitely. So the energy that he comes with, even on the NBA level, I feel like can distract a lot of defenses.
Oh yeah,
and I will agree with you in that sense. I also think that he probably has a little bit more discipline in it, and I was just wondering if you noticed that too sometimes. Getting out of hand a little bit with the ball. It's easy to do so when you get scored on 5-6 times in a row and you're the best handler, the best scorer. Usually that's kind of expected. Just go down and get a bucket. Sometimes it resulted in a turnover, trying to spin through 2 people and whatnot.
He does seem like he tries to do a little bit too much sometimes. And I think again, that's playing with the chip on your shoulder, saying, hey, I feel like I deserve to be higher than this level. I feel like I deserve a spot, and let me go showcase my talents. And I think sometimes, it's easy to get caught up in the fact of, hey, I've got a bag that's pretty deep and I can do a lot of things out here on the court. At the same time, you're playing with other guys and against other guys that have that same NBA potential, and that's why they're in the G League. Yeah. And so I think he does kind of get carried away sometimes. And we've seen with his injuries in the past, sometimes it's a result of him just being a little bit too physical in that play.
No doubt.
Our last Windy City Bull that we're going to be talking about that has played for the Chicago Bulls so far this season and has a potential as a backup center potentially in the near future for the Bulls, Lachlan Ulbrich. So he is the 6'8" center from Australia, averaging 20 points a game, 9 rebounds a game, 6 assists a game. That's pretty good numbers in the G League, especially for a rookie here.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. One thing about Ulbrich I like the most too is what I've just noticed late. I liked his aggressiveness, of course, and it seems like he's got grace to him as well, especially to be so young. He reminds me a little bit of Jokic with how he sort of can what's the word? Parlay? Is that the word?
Parlay, yeah.
Parlay, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's sort of like it's got a little bit of finesse to him. You know what I mean? Even for the speed, it seems very much so a little bit of finesse, a little bit of straightforwardness. Excuse me. But his assist game is off the charts, and I think that's why he's so good because he does keep his head up. He sees the floor. He can't put the ball down. You know what I mean? He makes the right pass so effortlessly. I feel like I want to look into his turnovers now. I won't hold the floor, but definitely Ulbrich is actually very impressive with his vision, more so to me.
Oh, yeah. And I can definitely see why the Bulls selected him with their second-round pick in this past year's draft. Definitely, you see his upside. You see his potential in a lot of areas. He's very physical around the rim. He's able to go and get those rebounds. He's able to push the ball and facilitate scoring to other players. And he's also able to finish on contested shots near the basket. And that's something that you definitely want to see in an NBA center. However, we were talking about this earlier, and some of his deficiencies I think that you brought up, if you'd like to elaborate a little bit more on, are 2 things: his speed and his ability to finish some contested shots, or even more so some open shots that, from that kind of 5 to 7 foot range that you just need to see go in from an NBA center. He's still not always connecting on those. So speed and then accuracy with his shooting in some way, especially from short range. What do you think of that in terms of his development in those areas of his game?
No, definitely. I think that the more that, for one, right now, I don't think it's really been like a pressure for him to kind of shoot, so to speak. I think because he has made that pass either way. It's pretty funny, like, you're going to have a pretty good pass when people are swarming you all over the court or even double teaming you, right? That's when you kind of effortlessly are able to make those passes. But even though the Windy City Bulls typically can be played one-on-one, nobody's really getting double teamed or over pressured. It still seems like he doesn't make many mistakes. Granted, it says he's averaged 2.9 turnovers a game this season. I don't even remember too many of them, so to speak. Maybe it could have been a call, but I haven't seen a bounce pass go error or a long pass that shouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? When he's on a fast break and he's getting run up on, he gives it up on time. And it usually results in a score. So I can dig his game. You know what I mean? I can dig it. I think the shot will come in time.
Yeah, and he's young. He's 21 years old. And, coming from playing in Australia, it's an adjustment period to playing against NBA level competition, especially when you look at what he's gotten very limited minutes, but I think that's something that, especially as a draft pick that they have utilized on him, I think they do definitely see a lot of potential in his growth and development. That speed hopefully can come. Again, he's kind of reaching that age where, you got to get to that speed that you need to be playing with at an NBA level. But even so, we see guys all the time in the NBA. Jokic is not the fastest guy out there, so it doesn't necessarily matter. But especially kind of having this much room to grow to get to where you need to be, that's something that could be worked on. But I see a lot of potential there for sure.
Definitely. And if I could finalize on that too, during shooting practice or whatnot, when they're warming up, he can shoot. So I will definitely double down with you on that potential, of course, right? In the game, it's a little faster. Got that split mind telling you should probably do something else too. It can happen, but yeah, I think it's there, and it'll get better as he gets more experience.
Into December here, looking around the NBA, there are plenty of trade options around the NBA. When we come back, Lee and I will discuss where some of the biggest names in the NBA could be heading at the trade deadline.
He's right there. It's the bottom of the 7th inning. The last chance to order beer. But we didn't come here to drink beer. We came here to win this ball game.
Chicago's so lucky. SportsTownChicago.com.
1, 2, 3 into the 4. Pizza at your house and you can get it at the store. Uh-oh, here we go. Chicagoland area. Little Caesars is heating up for the summer. Try our new Crazy Puffs, $3.99. Walk-in or delivery. 7 days a week. 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. filled with cheesy mozzarella, pepperoni, pizza sauce, buttery, garlic flavored drizzle, Italian herb and Parmesan seasoning, deep dish Detroit style pizza, $7.99. Super cheesy bread, $5.99. Hot and ready combo, $12.99. And for your daily deals, go to LitCaesars.com. Oh, Little Caesars with our crazy puffs and cheesy dreams, you light up my soul with your pepperoni schemes. With every slice we share, with every moment we did in this piece of love affair, so you didn't hear that just here. You don't want to miss out on these delicious deals. Visit your Chicagoland area Little Caesars today. Cheese, cheese, cheese.
Nobody does food better than our friends south of the border. If you're looking for delicious, authentic Mexican food in Chicagoland's backyard, check out the Topos restaurant. Try their quesadillas, burritos, or my favorite, the 3-taco combo with steak and extra chipotle salsa.
Muy caliente.
They even have breakfast for early risers. Topos is the highest rated Mexican restaurant in Naperville on Yelp. Once you try it, you'll understand why. Visit totoposnaperville.com for their menu, special offers, and online ordering on Grubhub. Pickup or delivery. Topos restaurant, open nightly until 8:30, closed on Sundays, located next to the Jewel on Aurora Avenue in Naperville. Experience fresh, homemade Mexican at the Topos restaurant.
I got an affordable family-owned restaurant for you that won't cost you an arm and a leg. It's Goodies in River Grove. My Goodies order never changes. A gyros, not a gyro. Smothered in sauce and hot fries on the side for less than $9. If I'm really starved, I'll add a chicken kebab to my order. Looking for more? Try a juicy cheeseburger, Chicago-style hot dogs, or a toasty corned beef meal. I can walk in 7 days a week, dine with my family, or call 708-583-1700. Pick it up and enjoy it at home. Can't stop in? Not a problem. Goodies delivers through Grubhub, DoorDash, and Seamless. Goodies is located at Cumberland, Belmont, River Grove. Goodies bring authentic Greek food to the Chicago.
It's the summer of coffee at Dunkin' Donuts. To reach peak summer mode, you need your summer coffee, like a smooth new s'mores frozen Dunkin' coffee, a refreshing butter pecan iced coffee, or a sweet coconut cream pie cold brew. What could be better than iced frozen coffee on a hot summer day? Nothing. Dunkin' Donuts has all your favorite flavors this summer. So come enjoy the summer of coffee and keep cool out there, kids. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer.
Looking for a great bargain? Want to find cool collectibles? Need to get fresh fruit and vegetables for the family? Come on down to Swapo Ramen. 3 great locations, 42nd and Ashland in Chicago, Melrose Park in Ulsan, with hundreds of indoor and outdoor vendors selling clothing, tools, electronics, and much, much more. Have stuff for sale? Become a Swapo Rama vendor and turn your hidden treasure into cash. Visit their website for market days, hours, and vendor information. Go to swap-o-rama.com. Swapo Rama, the first name in flea markets.
This is the last thing I'm going to say about anything regarding false information. At the end of the day, everyone needs to wait until Giannis says something, because all this is just he say, she say. I guarantee when we start winning and we go 8-0, 9-0, you won't see nothing about the Bucks. You won't say, oh, the Bucks is 8-0, 9-0, they're flourishing. Giannis is, we're not going to see that positive news. So at least for me, this is the last time I'm going to answer anything false.
As we know, ballers gonna ball, whether it be for the dollars or they do it for the bucks, right? We got a lot of trade rumors up in the air right now, and two specific players that are under query are very notable. It might catch your attention.
I'd say they're pretty notable, yeah. I agree.
Pretty notable, right? We got Anthony Davis on the block, of course. This probably isn't too surprising, as well as Giannis Antetokounmpo. Also probably isn't surprising, but yet both of them are still speculative. And very much so still surprised. I'm pretty sure you can agree. Tell me why.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you look at Giannis, especially when he was able to win that championship with the Bucks a few years back, you look at what he meant to the city of Milwaukee and the Bucks specifically, and you look at also the talent that was around him at the time. Definitely not a team that you would think is unstoppable by any means, but at the same time, that centerpiece, franchises will go decades and decades waiting to get their Giannis. And now that the Bucks have him and he's had his injuries, as well as, whatever you want to say. I know Josh has said in the past his thoughts on Doc Rivers, but, all of these different factors combining into, I think, an ultimate travesty for the Bucks organization if, in fact, they are going to eventually lose out on Giannis. And it hasn't been without the controversy. I know there's been a lot of talk about the Nasus and the distractions that can kind of come sometimes with Giannis, but at the end of the day, his caliber of player, his MVP potential in a player, it's kind of sad and unfortunate to see that he very well might be out. And at the same time, I think a lot of people saw that coming in the offseason as well. I know a lot of trade rumors were going around of him not even being with the Bucks to start this season. So, him coming back, I think, was a good sign if you're a Bucks fan, but now it's kind of looking like, these rumors are swirling and it might be the end of the Giannis era in Milwaukee.
No doubt, right? And you got to wonder how long was it due? I mean, the only thing that really changed over the last 12 years of him being with the Bucks, I'll say the only thing that really stayed the same, rather, were the minutes per game. I mean, that was the least change. It merely changed by 7 minutes, but the assists, the rebounds, and the blocks per game constantly went up from 2013 when you get to 2025 to where, obviously he did take that short decline from last year, of course, from 30 points to 28 this year, but just so many years, averaging 35, 31, 36, 32, 30, 33,
He's been above 25 since the 17-18 season. Yeah. So for the past 8 years, he's been, one of the top scorers in the league.
Yeah, guy developed so fast, right? Like you say, even in that time with the starting from at least 20, he had 8 rebounds a game as well as 4 assists per game. Like he was very valuable. All this time, he's giving them all he's got. I do wonder where the Bucks go next. I don't even know if the Bucks are a mentionable franchise for the next 15 years. They might go through a Bulls drought without him. Let's hope not.
And when you look at the talent that's on the Bucks roster as well, bringing up the Bulls especially, it wouldn't be hard to see how the Bucks without Giannis could end up becoming a Bulls-like team where they're constantly in the play-in, but not really doing much more beyond that. Yeah. That audio we had from Kevin Porter Jr., he's having a pretty decent season so far. He's averaging 22 a game, 55 from the floor, Miles Turner.
Wow.
And, they got Kuzma on there too. Or not Kuzma, sorry, Kuzma. They've got Kuzma there on the roster along with Bobby Portis. They got the talent around them to be competitive in a fairly weak East.
No doubt.
But that's that piece that you got to make a decision right now. Are we blowing it up, or are we, gonna, try and just kind of scooch on by?
No doubt about it. Because honestly, I think when it comes to Giannis being done in Milwaukee, I don't know where he's going exactly, but I know he's formidable anywhere he goes. What's more interesting is who wants him. Have you heard the rumors, Elsa?
Tell me about the rumors. I mean, where are some potential landing spots for Giannis?
For Giannis, the top guys in one of them are the Knicks, the Miami Heat, Golden State Warriors, and Detroit Pistons.
Okay, right. All right. You know, Giannis on the Pistons. That's interesting.
I was going to ask you who is the most likely or I think would be the most dangerous when it comes to where he will go. What do you think is the best fit for him? Or even the most dangerous?
Yeah, I feel like currently when you're looking at the East, I mean, the Pistons with Giannis, I mean, that's lethal right there, I think. When you look at what the Pistons have done so far this season, and we were talking earlier about how they were able to build up that roster from rock bottom, literally rock bottom, how they've been able to, get to that point where they are, now an actual contender in the East. Yeah, I mean, looking at what the Pistons have right now, I think that he definitely could fit in. I think him and Cade could have, a very, very deadly big man combination there in Detroit. And yeah, I think that's kind of like maybe their one piece in terms of they need guys on that team who can win and have been there before and know what it's like to win a championship. A lot of those guys on the Pistons, I haven't looked at the entire roster, but I don't think many of them have, that much playoff experience coming from the Pistons. So
totally,
I think that's maybe what they need to take that step forward and actually be legit contenders instead of just a nice story.
You got a good point there. It's funny because I was like smiling inside when you said Detroit. I was wondering, my second option probably would have been the Golden State Warriors, but definitely first to Detroit. I'll say why. Obviously, agreeing with you, Cade Cunningham is very selfless as well. He makes the people around him better. Not like we need to raise Giannis' ceiling, but it just goes to show that there won't be sort of a complex there. Where it's like competition. Who's going to get the most balls? Who's going to get the most touches, I should say.
It can be tough sometimes with superstars on teams like that.
Jimmy Butler and Derrick Rose, right? I mean, everybody expected so many people to go off James Harden, Russell Westbrook, or etc. But yeah, it's one of the more hurtful ones because you see a chip on the shoulder to be better, to be regarded as the man, really take over, even though both of them played their roles perfectly. They divided points and hustle perfectly. So you hate to see it, but I think that he would be safest with Detroit because there are a lot of other selfless players there as well because they have to be kind of role players 2K, so to speak. I think Golden State, the reason is obvious. We have to get into it with Jimmy Butler and, the San Antonio Spurs is very interesting though with them Twin Towers over there.
Yeah, I mean,
you think that'll be like?
That's tough because when you've got Wendy on that team and you're looking at the impact that he can have not only in the scoring realm but also in terms of how he can space things out. It would be nice to have another big man there with Giannis to maybe draw some of that attention away from him. But at the same time, it's tough to sometimes you got too many cooks in the kitchen, like you said, right?
Definitely.
Sometimes you got a good chemistry, a good thing going down there in San Antonio, and maybe Giannis could be maybe throw a wrench into that. Yeah. Not sure, but that would be interesting for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, the Thunder don't need anywhere. The Thunder,
right? They got the money.
Yeah, they could send like 5 of their picks and still have 4 left. So thank you, Nick. Appreciate that input for the Thunder.
I mean, they go on a 2-peat if the chemistry is even okay. They're going on a 3-peat.
We're looking at Bulls level dynasty here.
Yeah, if it's great, they're going on 3-4-peat because they are so huge down low with just Chet and Holmgren. That is ridiculous if Giannis gets down there. Like we say, we talk about him with the Spurs as well. And just like you say, there are too many cooks in the kitchen. You got to wonder exactly how it will be with 2 Twin Towers down low, taking up all the space too. So I don't know. I like it though. Like you say, when Giannis goes in, he draws 2 or 3 people, and then you look up and you throw it out, and here comes 7-1.
Here comes Wemby.
Also needs like 4 people to stop him. That's suck. They get really tired, and then their knees would be pretty beat. But yeah, because people would swarm them all the time.
Going off of what Nick chimed in, and if you weren't able to hear him on the stream here, Nick said send him to the Thunder. But realistically, what is a good asking price for Giannis at this point? Now he is a bit older, right? He's got some years on him, and he's got some injury behind him. If he was to get traded tomorrow, what do you think would be a reasonable asking price for Giannis?
And that's going off the last 12 years of these stats we just looked at, just points alone, health as well, right? Because he's had a couple of scares, but he's demonstrated longevity and durability very well. I would have to offer him
at least a couple rounds, a couple firsts, right?
Yeah, a couple first rounds, and I don't even know how. Doesn't Giannis got to get paid at least $150 million still, right?
Yeah, he's still got some money left on that contract.
With picks. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So definitely, yeah.
It's a big investment, but it could pay off for the right team,
Somebody else big probably leaves.
Yeah.
Everybody on OKC is so important.
That's true.
Well, it seems like down to the Kassan Wallaces and Andrew Wiggins. I shouldn't even say Kassan Wallace that he's very important, but go ahead.
No, and just to kind of wrap up Giannis there, it's tough when you're evaluating, especially if you're a contender. You've got pieces in place here, and you don't necessarily want to get rid of those, but at the same time, what kind of risk reward could pay off for that? Another guy that we were talking about that very well could be on the block here pretty soon, going to a different team that might have not as much upside, but just as much recognition and star power. Anthony Davis.
Shoot.
So what's going on with him? He's had his injury bounce in Dallas, and coming over in that Luka trade. It's looking, if he does end up getting traded, he was the centerpiece of that, right? It was, if I'm correct, it was straight up Luka for Anthony Davis.
No doubt.
What would that mean for him leaving for that Mavericks organization?
No, for sure. It's crazy because I think it has a chain reaction to it. I'll say what relates to it after him first, but got Detroit looking at him, got Atlanta looking at him, and Toronto looking at him. Like you said, when it comes to that upside, it's a little different because his potential due to injuries. Nonetheless, we do still know he's a force, and we do know he's a name. So even when he's coming to your town, and you've got this center as a matchup, it ain't even just about how many points he's about to score. Like, he's about to be a force on the block. About to be a defensive force. He's about to be a body that you have to get around. So those still meaningful in that regard. It's not like he is like Lauri Markkanen or Buzelis, right? So not as agile or quick.
Shooting below 30% from three, just a touch under 30. But as you said, though, I mean, his rebounding, his entire career, he's over 10 rebounds a game, as well as those 2 blocks a game, right? So, he's got he's definitely got the defensive aptitude that I think, being the star that he's been throughout his entire career. Do you think how do you think Anthony Davis would react to a contender picking him up and saying, look, we're picking you up as primarily, a defensive specialist here on our team? Or do you think he would, obviously he can score, but do you think that if he goes to a team that doesn't necessarily need his scoring more so than his defense, how do you think that he would react to that?
A very good question, actually. No, I sure can predict his personality for sure. Based off of the fact that he's usually pretty quiet when it comes to these trades. He's more expressive about backlash to his injuries, more so even than, speculation of them. Like, if that makes sense, get more deeper about what people are saying about the injuries or when he'll be back rather than how he feels sometimes from what I've seen. So I think with all that to say, defense and that blocking down there is one of the hardest parts of the game with staying healthy. That's probably what's getting him most injured, so to speak, is just kind of having to scrap and jump with so many bigs, right? Because bigs are very talented now today. Jokic gives him a run for his money every time. Jokic gives him 30-something. There's nothing you can do against him, man. Now everybody else is like trying to be like Jokic, spacing the floor, shooting a 3. Got to have you moving on your feet more. You're just more liable to kind of get injured too. So I think that he takes it.
Yeah.
I think that he goes where he goes and says, am I getting closer to that time? You know what I mean? I would hope that he is willing because he knows that it'll open up doors for him offensively too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, once he is able to show health consistently, defense turns into offense.
Yeah,
creates offense. So I think he takes it.
And especially with these players as they're going into the maybe later half of their career, right? He's been in the league since 2012, right? And when he was on the Pelicans, he was their number one guy.
Yeah.
Right. He was the star there. And of course, when he goes to LA, he's with LeBron, but at the same time, you know, he's still that other big name with him. Still a very large role on that team. And then the centerpiece of that Luka trade going to Dallas, you know, more pressure's put on him there.
Yeah.
I feel like he might be able to thrive if he's able to go to a team and not be that number one guy on the team that everybody's looking to and criticizing and saying, hey, why are you playing like this? Hey, why, you know, what's up with all of these injuries here? If he's able to just kind of let loose a little bit more and play his game, you know, I think the way that he plays, he very much enjoys and is passionate about playing this to the highest level that he can. Yeah. I think if he ends up going to a contender, they, you know, can maybe make him into, like I said, coming off the bench, maybe more defensively until he gets more acclimated with the system. And then, but even still, if he's going to any of these teams that you mentioned, he's likely not going to be that number one guy like he's been for a large part of his career.
Most definitely, yeah. And I agree with you. I think he does fit in better. Not being the face, not being somebody that everybody has to pay attention to. Literally, it reminds me actually of Steven Adams. He always is so helpful on each side of the floor in the game, and you barely really get to notice it or mention it because he's not a big name and he doesn't score 20 or, you know, go off like that. But he makes crucial plays and actually does some pretty hard stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Final question for you here. I asked about Giannis. What do you think is a fair asking price for AD? At his age, 32, injury concerns. Kind of similar of Giannis.
A lot of injury concerns.
Yeah.
I would say, man. Well, I'll give you an example of what I think. If they say that option would be Toronto, I think Siakam could just go for Davis, and it'd be fair.
Okay. All right. Oh, I could see that.
Fair.
So going to the Pacers then.
Well,
or a guy like Siakam, you're saying.
I guess you have to go to the. Yeah. You're right.
A guy of that caliber, kind of.
Totally.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the Raptors with Siakam.
Oh, with the Raptors, yeah.
Because I'm looking at him right here.
Sometimes I'm still thinking of him as you know, all those guys that were on the Raptors during that championship there. That's
I
still think of him on the Raptors sometimes too.
I'm in Jersey yelling, man. That's why I got you here, right?
Yeah.
So it says Davis would be an instant upgrade in their system next to the Raptors. So let's say I'll switch it then. I think even though they wouldn't want to get rid of Scotty, I think that Davis is at the point where if you get rid of Brandon, if you want a Davis, they would. I think you better give more for somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I think you got to put more with Davis to get him off.
Right.
At this point, you know what I mean?
And at this point, I don't know if anybody's going to be willing to give up first-round picks for Davis.
Nope.
You could definitely. It depends on where you're picking in the draft, especially if you're like a high-level contender and you're getting a 30th pick maybe, and you don't. Or if you're a team like the Thunder, not saying the Thunder would take them, but you know where you've got plenty of picks.
Yeah.
You know, you might give one away for that, but at the same time, if you're looking for teams that are a little bit more tight on their picks and want to hold on to them a little bit more, I'd say, you know, a decent starter of similar comparison, like you said, to like a Siakam type, or even one or two of their younger bench guys that could maybe develop but haven't really shown yet. I think especially with the Mavs, they're looking to build around Flag, and they want to make sure that they've got guys that can grow with him. So, you know, that's probably more so what they're looking for, if not picks. But we'll see. You know, this has been a topic basically since he arrived in Dallas last year. So
No doubt. Real spill. So, like you say, you asked me in the beginning too, sorry, what would it do, you know, if he was traded off? I said there was also a chain reaction in there. With him wanting to leave, he's got Clay wanting to leave too.
Mm-hmm.
With Clay being that premier shooter and whatnot, him being on free agency for a team that needs an elite shooter. Don't forget, he just wanted to be a playoff contender with Luka and Kyrie. Now that that's shattered, and AD wants to leave too, it actually
what's the point of him staying?
Right. Puts another big shooter on the block, so that switches the NBA around too.
And
definitely.
And who knows, maybe the Mavs can learn a little bit from the Bulls and say, hey, look, they had some superstars, they traded them away and didn't really get a whole lot back in return. Maybe we can learn from that and maybe, actually be able to build around our young stars and utilize those trades into getting more of what we need in the future going forward here.
No doubt.
He's 44, has 10 kids, and hasn't worked since COVID. I'm not talking about your Uncle Jim. We'll be talking about Phillip Rivers and his improbable comeback to the NFL with the Colts after this.
Chicago sports for sure.
SportsTownChicago.com.
It's the summer of coffee at Dunkin' Donuts. To reach peak summer mode, you need your summer coffee. Like a smooth, new s'mores frozen Dunkin' coffee, a refreshing butter pecan iced coffee, or a sweet coconut cream by cold brew. What could be better than an iced or frozen coffee on a hot summer day? Nothing. Dunkin' Donuts has all your favorite flavors this summer. So come enjoy the summer of coffee and keep cool out there, kids. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer.
When car dealers fight for your business, you win. AutoJudo.com makes car buying fun by letting dealers compete for your business live. Real-time Auto Judo fights are the fast and easy new way to get multiple dealers' best offer on any car you want. It's free and anonymous. Only the dealer you select as the winner of your Auto Judo fight receives your contact info. You're never obligated to buy, so test drive your best deals now at AutoJudo.com. Dealers fight, you say.
Yo, check it out. We got the finest pizza in all the land. Italian Fiesta is on deck, and I'm telling you, it's a hit. These pies don't miss. No matter what time you get the munchies. Pepperoni, extra cheese, turkey Italian sausage, they got all the toppings. Italian Fiesta delivers until midnight during the week and 1 a.m. on the weekends. Plus, you can use your Uber Eats or Grubhub if you got the app. And if you ain't rocking with the pizza that night, try one of their sandwiches or pasta. And they have plenty of side dishes, just like me, if you know what I mean. Hop online and go to ItalianFiesta.com or call 773-684-2222. Piece of pizza, that is.
There's only one place to watch your favorite sports team and have mouth-watering pizza. Come on down to Moretti's Pizzeria, where you can get a pizza for half the price every Tuesday. Try out our delicious varieties of pizza, sandwiches, and much more. I don't know about you, but a gooey mac and cheese pizza with a size of cheesy mozzarella sticks and watching sports sounds like paradise to me. Stop by at one of our 12 locations near you. We're open 7 days a week, anywhere from 10:30 a.m. to midnight. Visit our website, Moretti'sRestaurants.com, for delivery, catering, and even private parties. Moretti's, we bring the fun.
Did you know that Club New in Aurora is the ultimate entertainment complex? Monday nights, it's free football and darts in the sports bar. Tuesday night is league night. Join the pool and darts team. Wednesday night is ladies' night at Club New. All the ladies get in free. Gentlemen pay a $5 cover after 9 p.m. Thursday night starts the weekend off right with college flashback night. Low price drinks, retro music, and an awesome buffet. Friday and Saturday night, it's the hottest dance club in the suburbs. Club New Nightclub and Sports Bar is located at 2121 New York Street in Aurora.
You've tried the hit places, but they leave you hungry with an empty wallet. That's where Gretel comes in. They got what you really want. Visit their chic, lounge-like gastropub and try one of Chicago's top burgers, the Gretel Griddle Burger. The house-made bun and garlic aioli set this one apart from the rest. And don't miss half-price oysters, 4 to 6, Monday through Thursday, with rotating drafts, craft cocktails, and portions that don't skip. This is one of Logan Square's best-kept secrets. Monday through Thursday, 11 to midnight. Friday and Saturday, open till 1. 2833 West Armitage. Gretel, let's make this a night. Visit GretelChicago.com for menu and more.
Back to your home for sports. Here's your SportsTownChicago.com.
At 8:43, I'm Lee Sanders with your SportsTownChicago.com update powered by the Illinois Media School. If interested in a career in media, go to BeOnAir.com. Paycom Center in Oklahoma City, the NBA Cup quarterfinals are fresh underway. Thunder host the Suns and are currently nursing a 9-point lead with 9 minutes left in the first quarter. Chet Holmgren has nailed 2 3-pointers early, and OKC has 4 starters on the board. Grayson Allen has nailed a 3 for Phoenix. Keep in mind, Devin Booker has been ruled out for the previous 3 games due to a groin injury sustained against the Lakers. For more sports betting updates, the current 3-point tally sees Holmgren and Grayson Allen tied for 2, as well as Hassan Wallace with 1. Wondering about the MLB, I can tell thee. The Cubs were relatively quiet during the free agency. However, they have picked up 3 players from the Rule 5 draft. Picks include a 25th pick of the AAA first round, Adam Stone, St. Louis Cardinal pitcher Zane Mills, as well as former San Diego two-way player Devin Ortiz. White Sox also used their Rule 5 draft move to pick up former Boston Red Sox pitcher Jedixson Paez, as well as former Tampa Bay Rays right-hand pitcher Alexander Roberto. I'm Lee Sanders, and this was your Sportstown Chicago scoreboard update. If interested in a career in media, go to IllinoisMediaSchool.com. The end.
No Zoom. Let's go. I've tried to make this as simple as I can. I'll try not to get emotional, actually, you asking that. As simple as can be is a coach that I love and an organization that I really enjoyed being with. You know, Mr. Irsay believing in me in that year in 2020 when it didn't go so good. In 2019, the teammates that I were able to play with, 14 of them are still here, and they wanted me. You know, I try to keep it as simple as that. A game I love to play, a game that I thought I was done playing. Certainly, I wasn't really hanging on any hope of playing again. I kind of thought that ship had sailed.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back.
Who would have thought in the year of our Lord 2025, Phillip Rivers is back in the NFL at the age of 44, playing for the Indianapolis Colts. Lee, what do you make of this? I mean, he's an old man, and you know, I don't want to offend any 44-year-olds out there, but in NFL terms, 44, that is quite old. So, I mean, the Colts had some other options here. They could have gone with Taylor Heineke, but, you know, Rivers, he referenced the fact that he had such a good relationship with Shane Steichen when he was his quarterback's coach back when it was the San Diego Chargers. Yeah. Lee, what do you make of this? I mean, is this just such a reach? I mean, it is just a practice squad signing, but it is kind of crazy to come out of retirement 5 years later.
No, for sure. Like, I think that it's beautiful. As he said, dreams do come true. I think that it's something that he can cherish and savor. As far as what's going on, it must be a desperate situation, to say the least. You know what I mean? I don't think too ill of it. We've got, what was it?
Daniel Jones going down. I mean, that's never good to have when you've got a guy coming in that is kind of making a resurgence with his career. He goes down for the rest of the season with an Achilles tear. Riley Leonard, the late round draft pick, is your backup. It kind of seems like he's coming in more in a mentor role, but he definitely could potentially play and be activated from that practice squad.
No doubt about it. And, you know, an interesting fact, obviously, is when you look at, you try to compare and see, well, how was he at his best? How was he at his worst, right? How was he when he retired? You know, and try to see what maybe he can do when he comes back. I heard some interviewers even asking him his weight, all type of things to try to read into how he's going to perform. So, you know, ironically enough, I say that to say his best statistical seasons were 2008 and 2013, and his worst were 2007 and 2012.
Yeah.
So with those years literally being right behind each other, there's no clear indicator as far as where he might have fell off, how an injury affected him down the line, etc. I'll say this to say that the chance is sort of 50-50 with the potential that this guy might bring back to you. I'm glad that it's not like my guy on Miami Heat just taking up a seat. I hope it,
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, he's also, after retiring from the NFL, he became a high school football coach as well, down in Alabama. And I think, especially going back, I think he's definitely along for the ride in some way. I think he's having a good time getting signed back to the NFL for the first time in a few years here. But, you know, he's kind of the epitome of consistency in the NFL. And when you look at all of his statistics, right, he's got over 63,000 passing yards. He's kind of the epitome of the guy where you're constantly asking, like, is he a Hall of Famer? And that's a debate topic because he's got the stats. He doesn't have the postseason success, though, especially being with the Chargers for a large majority of his career. He just does not have that, Super Bowl ring like a guy like Eli Manning might have, even though Eli's got similar or even lesser than stats in some areas. He's still got those two Super Bowl rings. Okay. Whereas Phillip Rivers, you know, he's been that guy that you can rely on to get the yards, to get the touchdowns, and minimize his mistakes throughout his career. But at the same time, with a Colts team that's looking to go to the playoffs here, hopefully for them a very inexperienced rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
Whether he's in a mentor role leading him or playing himself, I don't know if this is, looking at this season, the right move for the Colts.
As far as him.
And I get that he's got the good relationship, and it kind of makes sense with, bringing him in for whatever it is reason that they brought him in for, over some other guys that are younger, obviously more athletic, have played football more recently than 2020. It really makes you wonder what the end goal here is. Are the Colts really devoted to making a playoff push here, or are they kind of just, punting, use a football term here? Are they just kind of punting the rest of the season to say, hey, let's get through this. Let's try and minimize the mistakes that we're making and try and, make sure that we're staying healthy going into the next season, where Daniel Jones might make a comeback with that Achilles tear.
No, for sure, right. I think that it is also probably a little bit of trust, as well as, like you say, kind of punting the season, maybe so. But I think that there's a little trust that it's a mix, where if they are giving the rest of the season away and just saying, well, we're kind of short luck, let's go on something, let's make it traditional, right? Put a story behind it. Of course, this is a great option. I know this guy, I still talk to him. As you can see, he had a close relationship with team staff still. So they were like, yeah, this is the best quick option. And I think that it also brings a little bit of veteran feel into the field with them. Like you said, they just came from under a rookie quarterback in Daniel. So that's one thing I hope that B really brings, is a presence. And I think that they're also probably looking towards that as well. Yeah, definitely, to make sure that, these guys don't really lose their sense of grip, even if the season is sort of deflating.
Mm-hmm.
There's still like a push for more.
Yeah, and Jim Irsay with the Colts, I'm not going to say known for this. We'll see you later, Nick. He's not necessarily known for these kind of moves, but it is odd that it happened, in multiple ways. A few years back when they brought in Jeff Saturday as the head coach, just kind of off the street for a little bit there. It's kind of like, what are you doing bringing him in, right? Yeah. To fulfill that interim coaching spot. And he got a win in his first game that he coached, and then proceeded to lose the remainder there. And then with Phillip Rivers here, it's like that meme where it's like, or from I forgot what it's from, but it's like, if I think it's from Phineas and Ferb, actually, where it's like, if I had a nickel for every time this happened, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's kind of weird that it happened twice.
Yeah, right.
kind of one of these where it's like, oh, we're bringing him in. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't really make sense to a lot of us, but at the same time, it clearly it makes sense within the Colts organization here.
No, seriously, and I mean, you got to think about this next few coming up games too. With the Seahawks, that's a tough road one, contending an NFC team. Then you got the 49ers right after that. First of all, that's going to be Monday Night Football, so that's already a big deal enough. We're one of NFC's most elite teams, but then they got the Jaguars after that, just losing them last week. So.
And they're only a game behind in the AFC South. And again, you just brought him in. You don't necessarily want to throw him in right away. Not only does he have these health issues of, he's a little bit older. You don't want to hurt him, right? And at the same time, he hasn't played football in 5 years, 4 or 5 years here. So it's definitely going to take a little while, but it's not going to be easy at all going against the Seahawks, Niners, Jags, and Houston. That is a tough remainder of the schedule for the Colts. I think they'd be happy with 2 more wins, getting to 10-6 and or 10-7, excuse me. But I don't know if that'll crack the playoffs there for the AFC. But at the same time, it could be fun to see what they got cooking over in Indianapolis here. And we have a special guest that actually just walked in. We've got our friend Adam here from the 5th quarter. Say hello to the people, Adam.
Schneider.
What's up?
Camera was off. What's up, guys?
Slim Schneidy.
Slim Schneidy, yeah.
That's where the people can find you on social media, correct?
Yeah, Instagram slim_SHNADY, slim_Schneidy Instagram.
And so, Adam, what do you make of this whole Phillip Rivers going to the Colts?
Why? For one, because you got a couple of veteran players out on the market, but if you're looking for consistent playmakers that have, if you're looking for past glory, then yeah, you got Phillip Rivers. But at the end of the day, he's 44. And, once you hit the 40s, unless you're Tom Brady,
Or Aaron Rodgers.
Or Aaron Rodgers, apparently. You lose a couple of steps in the run motion and the throwing motion. I mean, look at Flacco. I know you can't throw like a downfield like a Hail Mary, but I mean, again, he's 40. It takes you.
Right.
I just want to quick example. Like during one of the games, you saw how it was against the Bears, I believe. He tried throwing a Hail Mary and he had to use all of his strength.
And he didn't even get it there.
No, exactly. But that.
We were speculating earlier about the fact that he's got a great relationship with Shane Steichen, his former coach with the Chargers, as well as, he's got some high school coaching experience now.
He does.
You look at Riley Leonard as the next man up on the depth chart, very inexperienced in the NFL here. Do you think, especially with him being a practice squad signee onto the practice squad, do you think that he's being brought on more in a mentorship role here?
Absolutely. Because Riley Leonard, right, young, came out of Notre Dame about a year or two ago. He hasn't played much, and when he did, he got injured. Again, experience always helps when it comes to developing these young quarterbacks, especially, again, with the coaching. But with Phillip Rivers, as you said, as the former high school head coach, I think he brings the ability as a side of a player and as a mentored coach through, the younger side of the aspect. Because some coaches work better with veterans, some with younger players. But, I see Phillip Rivers as a great mentor for him with the experience he has, future Hall of Famer, and, through the experience of playoffs as well, and just the whole 9 yards with him.
Yeah, we were kind of speculating earlier about his Hall of Fame status, considering he doesn't have that postseason success. But at the same time, he still has had that longevity in his career. He's got the stats there.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he'll make, he'll definitely, and that's something that I've wondered as to why he hasn't been brought on as a coach or an analyst or something for NFL teams. He's got a lot of valuable experience. I know he's a family man, as I said in the tease. He's got 10 kids, and so I know that he wants to be a family man back at home with them. But if he's taking these NFL jobs here in 2025, who knows? Maybe we will see once he is retired for good. Maybe when he hits 50, I don't know. Maybe that's when he'll retire for good.
Starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, 48-year-old Phillip Rivers.
Well, who knows? Maybe after all that, he can fulfill a larger coaching career in college or the NFL somewhere. But very interesting for sure. Lee, any final thoughts on this Phillip Rivers saga here?
I wish him the best. I heard a lot of emotions when he was speaking about just being back and being so grateful. Actually, he really spoke on it a couple times about how happy he was just to be able to continue living his dream. It really stuck with me. Whatever happens with him, whatever happens in the season, the next game, I don't care. I'm glad he's in that position.
Yes, sir.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Adam, what do you think? Final thoughts here.
I think obviously it's not going to last long. If you're on the practice squad, it's just a temporary thing. But again, it gives that opportunity for Phillip Rivers again to show what he could do at 44 years old. I don't know how much he can provide. I don't know how much real stamina or how much bravado he has. But at the end of the day, I mean, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. And hopefully, if he goes up against any of these teams or if he gets called, hopefully he can make a name for himself again and bring it back.
Yes, sir. And to go off of Lee's point here about the emotion that you see in his press conference and how much emotion that he brings into getting to play again. Yeah. It reminds me of the conversation that we had yesterday, Adam, about Notre Dame opting out of the bowl game. And you never know when your NFL or football career in general is going to end. And just to see how special and important it was for him to get the opportunity to play football again at the professional level, it really shows the beauty that comes with this game and how much it means to players and how much it can mean once they're done playing as well, that they might not even realize in the moment until they get that opportunity.
It'd be a great comeback story. I'd love to hear it.
It'd be a movie, probably.
A comeback movie.
That would be.
I'm nowhere near close with the situation, of course, but just an old guy coming back.
It would be. It'd be, the 2026 version of Rudy.
I made a joke about this earlier. I'm surprised it wasn't Brady.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, he's got that Fox deal, so I don't know.
Hey, you know what? They would probably be like, you can go back.
They probably would. Thank you very much, folks, for tuning into another edition of the DonLee Sports Talk Show. Thank you very much to our friend Adam of the Fifth Quarter for coming on and joining us here. Adam, one more time, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at slim_SHNADY, slim_Shanady.
Got to give a big shout out to my partner here, Lee. Where can the people find you?
Y'all can catch me BROGEODI on all platforms. That's BroGeodi. Talk sports, music, and more.
And for me, that is Matt_D14 on Twitter and TikTok. Have a fantastic rest of your night, everybody. Drive home safely, and we'll see you later.